My name is Keith Miller.
My name is Dana Drucker-Solano.
My name is Chastity Lord.
My name is Aria Doe.
My name is Sanford Biggers, and I am an innovator of change.
I'm a reflection of everyone that came before me, and I'm a mirror for those who come after me. And I take that very, very seriously. I believe that when you see me, you see my great-great-great-great-grandfather who was an escaped slave. You see my grandfather who was friends of presidents. You see my grandmother who graduated from high school at 53 because she was determined. You see all the people. I carry everything on my shoulders that they carried within themselves. You even see my slave master great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, but that family was born into a family of abolitionists who also helped forge what we are and what we become. So I carry them with me. And I believe that I'm a mirror for those who come after me, because how I live my life, an example of my life, should reflect on those that I touch.
Just a person that was blessed with very good opportunities and was lucky enough to grow up in a family that instilled a good work ethic. And the rest is, but for the grace of God, would be somewhere else. And I don't know, I'm just figuring this journey out as it comes. So I'm just somebody who's really grateful to be right here today, experiencing the gifts that are around me.
I would say I'm a manifester. I'm someone that believes strongly that in order for something to show up in your life, you have to have a clear vision for it. I think it's important to realize that as human beings, we're wedded to being right. And so what you believe and draw energy toward actually determines what is possible. I would also say that I'm a revolutionary. I think we stand on the shoulders of some amazing heroes and sheroes. I believe that I am a mentor. I think it's important to demystify what is possible. Oftentimes people feel like it might be possible for you, but not for someone else. That's because we don't tell the full story. We don't talk about the times where things haven't gone well, haven't gone right. I would say that I am also someone who believes it's important to be unreasonable, to dream audacious, huge, big, crazy dreams, and stand next to them and welcome people to be a part of them.
I work in many different disciplines, whether it be painting, sculpture, installation, even music. And I've tried to bring my ideas to life into some tangible form, some experiential form that others can, be challenged by, inspired by, and hopefully push to another level of their own expression.
I am a writer and artist. I'm a mother, I'm a wife. I'm kind of the all-encompassing, you can have it all type of woman. I push myself every day to follow my dream. I'm a dreamer, I'm a visionary, and I'm the creator of Apricot Brown, which is a character that uses diversity as her superpower, and hopefully will impact and encourage girls from around the world to celebrate their differences and create their own unique identities with fearlessness.
It's definitely humbling. It's humbling to be honored for what you do naturally. Change is a natural progression. I think when we come to transform into something better all the time. It's also such an honor because I actually stand on the shoulders of many, and many stand behind me. So when you honor me, you're actually honoring so many more than just Aria Doe.
I could never have imagined ever being in a place where I would be recognized on a level like this, especially during Black History Month, which is like, just has a special place in my heart. So I was, I'm excited.
I feel that it's not about me. And so I feel it as a recognition of decision making. I was talking earlier about how mentorship is non-negotiable. I feel like it's a recognition of those types of quality traits. Someone who's willing to have a vision for their community, someone who's willing to have a vision for those that are coming after us. So I celebrate that. When I see the recognition as of chastity, Lord, then I become a little squirmish. But when I see it as a recognition of decision making in the way that I live my life and the things that I hold as important, then I'm like, yeah, right on. It's important that people know that those types of things are seen as innovative properties.
Humbled is the first thing that comes to mind. And grateful that the people who have given me the opportunity to grow and learn can be represented through this as well. Just very grateful that there is an opportunity that I can in some way try to do something for someone in a way that things were done for me. And for that, I'm grateful.
I feel that this is a great opportunity. I'm very fortunate to have received it, particularly for me because in my field, it can be so niche. Most people don't really think about what artists actually do. They take art for granted, even though art is around them all the time, whether in the form of design or advertising, you name it. So to be honored on a platform like this puts me in the conversation with people from various fields. And it shows that artists do more than just paint pretty pictures, but we're thinking about very big things, and we have access and audience that we can influence through what we do.
In particular, the Action Center, it actually was a collaborative between my husband and I. I'm not sure if you understand a lot about the Rockaways, or people who would see this know what the Rockaways is like, but it's a microcosm of anything that you can find in the U.S. On this side, you have your millionaires and your multimillionaires. You hear about the Breezy Point homes during Sandy and Bell Harbor. And then on the other side, you have your stabilized families. By no means are they on the level of the other of multimillionaires, but they're stabilized economically. Kids are in college. Many are homeowners. My husband and I live on that side. And in the middle, you have some of the poorest residents in not just the United States, but also with statistics that rival third world countries. 12 years ago, I came home frustrated at many of the stories we were hearing, and I thought of kids with their nose pressed against the window, seeing just in the middle of the haves and have-nots. And my husband told me, you know what, we could either be part of a problem or part of the solution. And at that point, he and I both were in the corporate world, and we decided to cash in our 401ks and start the Action Center. We've been able in 12 years with $8 million and all these resources to lift the community 1 foot, because the tasks in an impoverished communities are just that daunting. When Superstorm Sandy hit, we lost about half a foot. So even while we're here, and even when it hit, getting folks to the status quo wasn't good enough. And now we're fighting to get back to that status quo of 200% below poverty level, as opposed to perhaps 300% now.
I got started in the visual arts at a very early age. In fact, I never made a conscious decision to follow that path. I was always very interested and engaged in the arts and crafts classes in nursery school, elementary school, and so on. That was the only time when I would actually focus and concentrate and not be distracted by all the things going on in the classroom. And later that transitioned to drawing on canvas and painting pictures of musicians that I was listening to, and then even doing graffiti. Any form of artistic expression I was very involved with at an early age.
I started working in advertising and marketing 10 years ago. I've always wanted to create images that kind of reflected a world that I was living in, but I didn't really see in the media. So that's why I thought I would go into advertising and marketing to help tell the stories through brands that have, big budgets to relate to all different types of people. And ultimately I discovered that, a lot of the creative energy that I had wasn't really recognized in the roles that I had in working for other companies and their brands. So ultimately I figured out that I wanted to create my own brand and create something that really stood for something that I believed in. So Yeah, so that's what got me started in working in advertising and marketing. That's what interested me in that line of work, and then led me to want to create a children's entertainment brand.
The path started for me in 8th grade. I would wake up, and at the time it was through athletics. I would wake up, and every single day I had something inside of me. If I didn't run, if I didn't work out, I couldn't go to bed. I would have the key to the gym, and I would go up there at 10:30 at night and work out till midnight to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start changing water again. I remember when singing started, I was so busy learning music for the first time. I remember at the end of the day, it was about 11:30 at night, and I was walking out to my car, and it hit me. I didn't work out. And I realized at that moment that my athletic career had completely come to an end, and that I found something new. In music, you need to be in a world of discovery. And you can only really be a true artist if you allow yourself to go down that path and live in a world of discovery. And it's very hard to not think about the what ifs and the could haves and what about this and what is happening now. And then the next thing happens, and the next thing, pretty soon you've had a complete dialogue with yourself about something that hasn't happened. Every single thing that you're doing is stopping you from taking a breath and looking at the moment right now and saying, here's an opportunity to appreciate something, rather than think about, is somebody appreciating this because I want them to.
One of the things that have been solidified for me is to make sure you surround your people with folks who know what you don't know. I think one of the biggest signs of intelligence is to know what you don't know and to get people who know it and to make sure that you have them as part of your team. And the second is, and I wish I had learned it so much earlier in my life, that giving and a life of service is the most fulfilling thing that a person can do. That you get so much more back than you could ever give.
One thing I learned is that, and not to sound grandiose, but a prophet is never accepted in his hometown. I think this is what they say to refer to Jesus, actually. And that is truly the case. I mean, even if you look at someone like Steve Jobs, who we all admire today and who has basically changed the world, he went through those same obstacles, people and their disbelief, but never once did he truly disbelieve himself. And I think that's the kind of thing I want to instill in people through my work. I think that's the kind of thing that we need to instill in our children, our relatives. We have to think outside the box, because we live in a time where things that we took for granted before as safe and stable paths have proven not to be that safe and stable after all. So you really have to proceed and chase your goals.
Focus on being one of the best. Don't focus on being the best. That's such an 80s overrated concept, and it's distracting, and it brings too much ego into the conversation. Focus on being one of the best. Be willing to do what someone on your left or right isn't willing to do. Be unreasonable about it. Be really, really visionary about it. And that is how I think you transform industry, transform opportunities. Play your game. Let the scoreboard do what it will do. Just stay in the game. Stay focused on what you're doing.
I think it's a very interesting time for everyone, actually, not just creatives, but everybody. The world is changing, information is quick, boundaries are breaking down, old rules don't apply, and we're living in the time of consilience. So pretty much every field is overlapping into each other right now. So it's fertile ground, and I tell the next generation and the generation after them, as they come in as my students, to prepare themselves, to open themselves up to every form of information and communication out there. Particularly for the artists, they're able to synthesize this. I think that's what the strength of artists are. Since we are not bound by certain limitations, we can synthesize information and output it in a way that can be visually appealing, challenging, arresting, even repulsive, but provocative.
I would say find a blueprint for what you want to do. So do your research, read the stories that of the people who've come before you and who are successful, and take what they've done and then twist it and make it your own.
Sit with the quiet, sit with the silence, and ask yourself, what do I not want to be, but what do I need to be? And then allow yourself to start to take that journey only after the understanding has come, without telling yourself, I need to do this because so-and-so said this, or somebody expects me to, or my father used to play football, or whatever it is, just sit with yourself long enough until the answers come, and then ask the questions.
Start early. I was so often that when I was younger, I understood how wonderful it feels to give and how much more you get from giving. So my best advice would be to start early. It doesn't have to be big, it could be small. It could be just giving a smile a day, or giving a day a week, or a day a month to someone and someone else, but I would start early. Banishing fear and anger, trying to operate without it, that's one of the traits. Second is, I trust my gut instincts. And then the third is always trying, but not always being successful at it, but to operate from a position that starts with love.
Education's huge. Social graces, being able to be comfortable in my own skin, which is something that took me a long time to do, but that is essential. And faith is huge for me. That's allowed me to be successful, because I've been able to just know that I have all that I need, I have all the tools, and just to take that step forward is a powerful thing that I think has helped me get to where I am.
I think the 3 traits that have helped me to succeed have been discipline, although I sometimes think of myself as a non-disciplined person. In fact, I am quite disciplined. The other thing is to not be discouraged, to just have a fortitude. So I always have a thing that I tell my students, that if you're not getting rejections, then you're not trying hard enough. The point being is that you have to deal with rejections to get the affirmations, and if you're not putting yourself out there, you'll receive neither of those. And the third thing would probably be sort of boundless creativity and imagination. I believe anything is possible. I truly believe that, and I live by that. I had a lot of role models, some that I actually knew, some that I just watched from afar. I think the first 2 that come to mind would be my father and my sister. You know, my whole family in general. I learned a lot. I'm the youngest of 3 children, and I observed. That was one of the lessons I learned early on, is you're probably functioning at your best when you're quiet and observing. So I definitely got my interest in research and history from my father. I got my understanding of aesthetics and tactility from my mother. I've got my career trajectory from my sister. I got my sense of style and savvy from my brother.
I just admire people who, and they're role models for me, who are just willing to live their life. Courage is something that I bow down to. I think it's really easy to do things when you know what the outcome's gonna be, but when you have no idea what the outcome's gonna be and you do it anyway because you feel like it's the right thing for you to do, I mean, really, high five to you. I admire people who are, who dream big dreams. You know, the reason why I love President Obama, not because he's president, but because he had a vision for being president. He was willing to do something even in the absence of it making sense. People forget that Clinton was in the race. That is a heritage, and he was willing to go up against that. I admire Oprah, not because she's Oprah, but because when she was at the top of her game, she stayed challenged and she wanted to create a new station. And it's really hard to stay uncomfortable. I admire my mother for not necessarily knowing how to do and be and achieve what she hoped her girls would be able to achieve, but she did what she did. She did what she did know, and she knew education was important, and she doubled down on that, and she made the library a place that I feel extremely comfortable.
My role model started with my parents. My mother's independent woman, always worked, always empowered me creatively. She was an artist, and she became an art teacher. She's got a master's, she's now an educator. My father, he's just I mean, he's a funny guy. He's always fought for me to create my own destiny and follow my own path, be able to support myself. And then it's really the women in my family, because I have a tremendous amount of women that have impacted me from all different cultures and religions, and they've all shared their stories with me, and they've impacted the way that I'm able to see myself.
My parents taught us not to have heroes. They taught us to believe in ourselves and trust ourselves first. But even having said that, they're my heroes all the same. They taught us that the example of your life is the role that you set for other people to model after. And so each one and each person is a role model. I can't give you a name of a person and say, oh, Martin Luther King, I want to be like him, or Obama, or anybody like that. I can't. I want to be like me.
Black History Month, I think as a people, we often get very uncomfortable with things that have to talk about race and race specifically. I think pride is very important. It's really important to be able to see yourself in others, and not just literally, but also figuratively, for being able to share, have shared narratives. And so Black History Month is a moment where, as a country, we take a moment to reflect on who we've been, who we are, and who we desire to be. I think for people of color, it's a moment, for Black people, it's a moment for us to stop, honor that which has come before us, that which is happening now, and that which we desire to happen, because Black History Month is about you doing a soft reset and getting back in the game. It's about looking at the scoreboard, but more importantly, it's about saying, all right, pass me the ball, I'm ready.
The significance of celebrating Black History Month is recognizing the contribution of a whole community and race of people that built this country and had to fight to get the respect and to get, are still fighting to be recognized for all they do.
I think it's significant and important that we celebrate our Blackness every day, that children are taught and that we all are taught to look in the mirror and to see beauty, and that doesn't often happen. And I think it's important, though, that as we celebrate it now in this world, in this sphere that we live in now, that those who are leading the charge now are those who are being celebrated. That's not to say our ancestors or those in history that came before us are not important. They got us to where we are now. But kids also need to be able to touch, to feel, to dream, and to see that dream alive. So it is very, very important for them to look up now and say, yes, I can be president. It's important for them to celebrate the now and to celebrate who we have now.
There's a big pot that feeds everyone, and the pot is humanity. So dividing that doesn't conquer, it separates. And by separating, there's envy, there's greed, there's justification, there's self-entitlement that are all part of those individual servings. So when an opportunity comes to bring those together, instead of dividing, we can multiply. And that's what I think is so special about an opportunity to celebrate something like this.
Well, first of all, I don't think America can ever be post-racial. I wish it could be, but I think we're too addicted to our own historical pathologies and our need to separate from each other. Black history, I think, should always be celebrated, regardless of what month it is, and regardless by what culture, because African American / Black history is American history, bottom line. So the delineation should no longer really be made. If we can do that, then we could probably start thinking about post-racial anything. But before that, when Black history and all our contributions are relegated to a 28-day month, we're not ready for a post-racial society.
My name is Chastity Lord, and what makes me differenter is I get that I stand on the shoulders of heroes and sheroes that have come before me, and they have given me the courage and the ability to make innovative decisions that allow me to be differenter.
I'm Aria Doe, and what makes me differenter is I have an utter disregard for the word impossible.
My name is Dana Drucker-Solano. What makes me differenter is diversity. I believe diversity is an American and global birthright. It's what's going to unite us and bring our planet forward for the new world.
Hi, my name is Keith Miller, and what makes me differenter is I embrace failure as an opportunity to grow.
I'm Sanford Biggers, and what makes me differenter is that I am the synthesis of every person that I've come in contact with, every culture that I've lived in, every language that I speak, and that I have the means and ability to communicate those ideas through my visual art, through music, through sound, and communicate those experiences to others.